Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Ozongo. Here's what's coming up on the program right now. President Bola Tinubu is expected to hold his first Council of State meeting at the Villa today, where former heads of state and presidents are billed to attend. Ousted caretaker chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, leads solidarity march for President Tinubu a day after the court sacked him from office as reinstated chairman Emeka Beke insists Amewula and others are still members of the APC. And police authority insists it did not raid the headquarters of the Nigeria Labour Congress, but was after a wanted suspect over issues of national security. Thanks again for joining us on the program. Let's begin the tracking of the polity by informing you that the President Bola Tinubu is expected to preside over his first Council of State meeting any moment from now in the executive chambers of the presidential villa. The Council of State meeting is an organ of the federal government saddled with the responsibility of advising the executive on policy making. Members of the council are former presidents or heads of state, former chief justices of Nigeria, president of the Senate, speaker of the House of Representatives, governors, and attorney general of the Federation. The agenda is expected to focus on urgent national issues like food security, national security, and other economic issues. The meeting comes just days after youth took to the streets across the country to protest protest against Nigeria's worst cost of living crisis in decades. And now to that on ending political intrigue in Rivers State, which has taken quite an interesting turn as the State High Court has sacked the APC chairman, Mr. Tony Okocha, as the caretaker chairman. Justice Sika Abrioko instead nullified the sack of Emeka Beke as the APC chairman and further reinstated him, and then issued an order restraining Mr. Tony Okocha from parading himself as the APC chairman of Rivers State.
That in Rivers State, the judiciary had turned themselves to some kind of pawn in the hands of a governor who is clueless. The judiciary had become Governor Fubara's supermarket in Rivers State. Our party is law-abiding. Otherwise, we would have said that we are in the era of disobedience to court orders in Rivers State. But we won't go that route. We will challenge, my party will challenge this judgment that will not even stand the test of time. Even a small child will upturn it. The rule and what is strike there is intra-party matter. Court, remove your hand. What have they done? They have delved into intra-party matter to decide for the party who their chairman is.
Well, Mr. Okocha, the APC, sacked APC chairman, has led a mega rally in Port Harcourt today to show solidarity with the president. Members of the Renewed Hope family of Rivers State, led by Mr. Okocha himself from the different local government areas of the state, assembled in their numbers at the Port Harcourt Polo Club, carrying inscriptions or placards with different inscriptions showing their support for the president. It's not clear what this is meant to achieve. However, they are marching down a bar road, causing gridlock, according to what we understand, because of their large number. And Mr. Okocha is already standing by to join us for a quick update on what this is all about. Mr. Tony Okocha, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having the Renewed Hope family in Rivers State.
All right, just a quick one. Let's begin with what we're seeing. What is this march really all about?
Well, you're aware that a few days back, some people who are faithless as far as we are concerned, who are also being motivated and sponsored by state politicians. We call them politicians that are in IDP. So they were sponsored and they tried to diminish all that the president has done in Nigeria. And particularly in Rivers State, we are aware of what happened here. Rivers State has never been as volatile as we saw, except that somebody was sponsoring the protest. And the man who was sponsoring the protest, the governor of Rivers State, was the only beneficiary of what happened between 1st and 10th of August. Okay, so what we are doing here is to clean that rot. There's a rot already in town. There is some kind of disinformation about what the president has been doing. So we're here to clean the rot, to tell the president that Rivers people are in support. We are supportive of him. We stand on his mandate. So that's why we're here today.
Okay, Mr. Okocha, we know that protest ended on Saturday, and some people will see some people will assume that this is because you were sacked by the court yesterday. This move looks like a knee-jerk approach to win the sentiment of the president. What would you say to that?
No, that is I don't know the word to use, but just to tell you that, of course, today is Tuesday, it's Monday, Tuesday, rather. The court judgment came only yesterday. Would you imagine that between yesterday that the court judgment came and today, this mammoth crowd would have been assembled? We have been in this business. We are supporters of Tinubu. Those other people, I do not even know where they come from. By the time we begin to show videos and begin to show pictures of what they have done over time against Bola Tinubu, from the point of emergence as the candidate of the party, and thereafter, he emerged as the candidate of the party, how they were decorating him on social media as somebody who was on a departure lounge. They are the ones who are doing this. They didn't support the president. But that's not what we are here for. Today we are here to tell Nigerians that Renewed Hope family in Rivers State is very much alive. And we're here to say to Nigerians that we support Mr. President, that we stand on his mandate.
All right, just
who sacked who. It's court of first instance. If I even want to discuss it, that is court of first instance. Okay, so
that means you're appealing the case.
Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will speak. And note too that I did not contest the election with Emeka Beke. So it's not about parallel leadership. He was found guilty and culpable of anti-party activities. His members of the state working committee that were elected with him, alongside him, suspended him, held a meeting and suspended him, and went to the court to establish it. So in law, Emeka Beke is not even a member of APC. Now he has filed an appeal before the Court of Appeal, and the matter is on. So I don't understand this court wahala. Just that the courts in Rivers State are... All
right, Mr. Okocha, just because of time, Mr. Okocha, if I may butt in, if you can hear me, a quick one. So does this mean you're now appealing this case? What is your next line of action?
We are not about it. We will appeal the case. Nothing to worry. And the party will speak. So don't nothing to worry about at all. You can see that we are not perturbed. We're enjoying ourselves here.
All right, almost thank you for coming on the program, and we wish you the very best. Mr. Tony Okocha, former chairman of the APC in Rivers State and leader of the Renewed Hope family. That's the best way to describe you. Renewed Hope family member or leader. Thank you for coming on the program, Mr. Okocha.
It is your decision. Go ahead. You have an opinion. But nobody stuck to me, okay? So don't worry, until we get to the Supreme Court and back, we'll not understand what the scenario is.
Well, we'll stay with what the court has said. Mr. Okocha, thank you for coming on the program. Let's move on now. All right, thank you. In the meantime, the reinstated chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, Mr. Emeka Beke, is insisting that the 26 lawmakers led by Martin Amehule, who defected from the PDP to the APC, are still members of the APC. Mr. Beke, who says he respects the rule of law, which is why he stepped aside when he was removed, maintains that from his perspective, the lawmakers remain APC members and will soon be invited by his leadership in the state for conversation. And if they fail to honor his invitation, they will face disciplinary action. He was speaking on our program, Politics Today.
You know, they asked us we should not be in the office. We stepped aside. And today, the usually asked us to stay back in the office. We're staying back in the office. And we're going to do a legitimate assignment as chairman and ESCO of the party.
So
we'll do a major assignment. The 25 lawmakers are members of APC. And whether I received them, or anybody received them, will receive as members of our party. And I can tell you clearly, they are members of APC. We are going to invite them for the stakeholder meeting that's coming on Thursday to attend the meeting. If they don't come, we'll take a disciplinary action concerning them. Nobody will stop me as chairman of the party.
Well, we always say with Rivers State politics, you cannot even blink, because if you blink, you may miss the action. So our eyes and ears are there to watch what is going on. This is an intrigue that is evolving. But we're going to go and go to Rivers State. But this time, we're not talking about the issue of the APC and their issues. We're talking about national issues this time, because yesterday, or a few days ago, the weekend, I should say, Chief Emeka led the group they call the Patriots, some distinguished Nigerians, and made a proposal to the president that, look, to move the country forward, there are a few things you need to do. And one of the things they are proposing is for the president to send a bill to the National Assembly to constitute a, what they call constituent, like a conference, constituent conference, some constituent assembly conference for different states of the federation, picking like 3 people from different states to be part of that, and then to send another, that same legislation should capture the fact that we should include a referendum in our constitution, which is not in our constitution, so that whatever those people in the Constituent Assembly decide, yes, that's the name I was looking for, Constituent Assembly, when they make a decision, for instance, they want to look at the constitution and literally redraft the constitution, give us a new constitution. So if there's a referendum, they present it before the Nigerian people will vote with the referendum to accept or reject whatever is proposed as a draft constitution to become a new law. It's a very complex conversation. But the president has said, look, I hear you, not a problem yet, but right now my priority is the economy, maybe later on. But it looks like his body language is saying we may look at this in the future. One of the persons that was in that meeting is a human rights and civil rights activist, Niger Delta activist, as well as a member of the Patriots. Madam Ankyo Briggs joins us from Port Harcourt, Verso. Madam, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
I'm almost tempted to drag you into Rivers politics, but I'll stay away and stay with the issues why I invited you in the first place. You were in the room with the president, and maybe you can give us a better perspective as to what you saw as the body language of the president when Chief Emeka and yourself and the rest made this proposal to him that this document we're working with called our Constitution, as great as it is, it has some faults and we need to correct it. Tell us what played out.
I'm talking about body language of the president. I mean, the president could not have had any other body language but the one of understanding and knowing what we were saying to him. The president is, he has said it over and over again, and Nigerians do know it and accept it, that he was part of the of NADECO. He was part of the people, therefore, that were insisting and calling for a change of government from the military rule to the to civilian rule at that time. And what that then means is that he cannot deny that we Nigerians did not write the 1999 Constitution that is in operation now, because we didn't write it, and he knows it. Now, he's a seasoned activist, agitator for democracy, for federalism, because that was what he was doing with his comrades in during the Abacha era. So his body language, we have nothing to say that made us uncomfortable about his body language. He did say that he has heard us, and that he is going to, for now, his focus is the economy, and that the Patriots are a group of persons in Nigeria that he cannot ignore. Therefore, if from our view, for instance, if he is concentrating on the economy, which is a necessary concentration as far as we are concerned, that the economy must change the way it is now, it is not moving Nigeria forward. It is actually moving us backward. If you look at the pains Nigerians are going through right now, and the pains of our economy, and the pains of the value of our naira against the dollar or against the pound or any other international currency. So we're not uncomfortable whatsoever with the president's reaction to us. We will continue as patriots. We will continue with our program to sensitize Nigerians and to also push for the president to actually concentrate on the economy, as he says, right, and also concentrate on a new constitution, because without that new constitution, the economy of Nigeria is hardly going to change for the better, because there are a lot of things in the constitution that is holding down the economy of Nigeria, from security to food insecurity to if you like, the generator of the money that Nigeria is using. And by that, I mean the goose that lay the golden egg. And by that, I mean oil and gas.
All right, madam. So a few things here. So I listened carefully to Chief Anyoko, and he talked about the plurality of our Nigerian state. I'm giving an example as to the fact that Yugoslavia, I think Slovakia, I think Sudan, wouldn't manage that plurality properly, disintegrated after a couple of years. And it said Canada and India, for instance, did a great job in reflecting that plurality. So the argument has always been on the part that besides the affirmative plebiscites we saw in 1963 that created the Midwest region from the Western region, the argument is that we never were on the table as to how we want to live and exist together. So my question would be, what exactly is this constitution that we're operating with, called the amended 1999 constitution, missing that this intends to fix?
The fact that the opening statement of that constitution, as you flip it over, even before you flip it, actually, calling it the Nigerian constitution is a fallacy. Now, flipping it over and going to say we the people is the second fallacy. And so you cannot build anything on falsehood. We the people didn't write it. So just that alone is more than enough, where Nigerians must have and take the opportunity to write a new constitution. There is a lot of things like when you come to where the constitution says, and I'm talking from the experience and the position, if you like, of the Niger Delta people, because all of us, when we sit down to discuss this, are going to discuss from the platform of who we are, where we're coming from, your state of origin, your ethnic nationality, and not by politics. So if we look at it just from there alone, already we have a lot to say in the Constitution. We do not agree that the Constitution is right in saying that the resources in the Niger Delta belongs to Nigeria as a whole, where you have gold is not belonging to Nigeria, so it's not shared as a resource, as a formula. If you look at the new solid mineral that the states who own them have already signed with Chinese explorers and miners, which is lithium. Lithium is quite an expensive resource right now, and it's not being brought to the table. And yet, people are cutting away, we are told, bars of gold, and lithium is going to be explored and exploited. And for now, we have not seen anything to indicate that it's going to go into the table, on top of the table where the sharing is made. So just talking as a Niger Delta person, then we need a new constitution. And I am sure people from the Middle Belt, people from the Southwest and Northeast and North Central will have their own position to take. That's why it is very critical at this time that we have a president who understands restructuring, who knows what restructuring means, who was a fighter for justice and equity in Nigeria, which restructuring is one of the demands. And the fact that people should be able to cater for themselves within their region or their state and their state, what they produce in their state. That's just one aspect of why we believe in the Niger Delta, that we should have a new constitution. But I can't speak for another state, and I can't speak for another ethnic nationality.
All right, so apparently I can hear you loud and clear in terms of resource control, but of course the proposal has to do with Constituent Assembly. We don't know what the modalities will be at the end of the day, whether it's going to be demographic assembly as well, because young people, there's a model that young people are using now to make their voices heard, and even the Nigerian state is finding it difficult to manage that kind of approach, which is faceless, leaderless kind of advocacy against what they are not comfortable with. And because the older generation are used to people coming in front and leading protests and all of that. So my next question will have to be, as far as this is concerned, some people are saying is a constitutional change in constitution, a new constitution, the solution to our problem, or we should actually look deep into leadership crisis that we have?
Well, leadership crisis is there. But you see, the leaders that we have, even if in all their sincerity, if there is, in all their sincerity, that they want to make some changes, like restructuring Nigeria, for instance, you can't even take a step towards restructuring without actually going in to do something about to amending the Constitution, for you to have that space. And so that's why we are saying that the Constitution is restricting the people of Nigeria to be able to exercise the rights of democracy and the rights of people to make their choices. One example I would want to give will be, for instance, the INEC, the independent national electoral body. Now, they are there to make sure that our votes count. But what we have seen over and over again is INEC's personal involvement, depending on who is the chairman of INEC, involvement in elections and calling results that they cannot prove without falsehood, that actually this is the true voting pattern that the people took. The next position is the position of the judiciary. The judiciary has now, some of the judiciary, I must add, because I also have family members that are lawyers. And so when you look at the judiciary, it seems to me that the judiciary has become, if you like, the final sayer of who won an election, even if looking at it and getting the facts on the table, you cannot truly put your hand on your chest and say that the result INEC had called at any place is the true result of what the people said. So it takes us back to the Constitution, which means that we have to change the Constitution that has given INEC all these powers and that ignores when INEC goes wrong. It's all in the Constitution. Right. And therefore, we must have a new Constitution. And the way that it is going to be done, you mentioned that earlier, is that we have called on the president to send a bill to the National Assembly. And we have also mapped out just one area, which does not mean we cannot, or that the government cannot, or other Nigerians cannot add to it, which is to say that it should be represented by people of the state
right.
and the ethnic nationalities within those states and their background in whatever they are doing.
Madam, thank you. Apparently, this is an ongoing conversation, and I'm sure the Patriots will visit again and again to make sure this is reflected as much as possible. We are all looking for a better country. We must thank you and your group for being at the vanguard of this. Human, civil, and Niger Delta activist and member of the Patriot, Madam Ankyo Briggs. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a good day.
All right, so moving on to other stories, the Nigeria police has cleared the air on the controversy surrounding the alleged raid on the headquarters of the Nigeria Labour Congress in the nation's capital, Abuja. Speaking on our program, Politics Today, the first public relations officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, explains that a well-coordinated joint operation was carried out in search of an alleged international terrorist.
We have been working on a particular man who has been a global criminal, not only a threat to Nigeria or African continent, but to the whole world. And incidentally with our scientific analysis of certain information about this man, we discovered that he's on the second floor of the Labour House. And with the nature of the case, whether there is any authority or no authority, is a coordinated operation. We went to the second floor. We had a target. I was shocked when the allegation came that operatives went to the 10th floor to ransack. I wouldn't know. I'm not saying the Labour is being communicable with the truth, but perhaps the leadership must have been misinformed. Maybe those who were on the ground, the first responder went after the police the team must have left the place. Maybe they have given the Labour leadership the wrong information about it. It is not that the operative, the squad, let me use the squad now, went to ransack the Labour Secretariat. We had a target, we went to the Labour House, and we were able to trace a particular man to that place. Only if Labour can understand and have the information we have at hand concerning this particular man, the Labour will not even raise any issue of whether their secretariat was ransacked or the Labour House was ransacked, because we are talking of patriotism in this regard. We are talking of national security. We have many information against the man, and we have recovered documents to prove that this man is a threat to Nigeria, a threat to Africa, and a threat to the whole world.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.